Hey Floss Tube, it's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. Today is Monday. It's July 20th. It's my sister's birthday, so happy birthday, Melanie. Welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before, and welcome back if you have. Today we're going to do an update on my WIPs, and then I'm just going to chat for a while. So for those of you who, aren't interested in any kind of chatting, watch the first part of the video and then you're free to go on about your business. But you will miss maybe some important information. I don't know, maybe not. These glasses are filthy. So it is, like I said, it is the 20th of July. It's Monday. It's hideously hot outside, although, again, I would prefer that to the cold. I'm just putting that out there. I would prefer the hideously hot to the cold. Okay, that's a little better. Oh, look, I can see myself. That's a good thing. Like I said, today we're going to go over my stitching. I ordered a Nerge Q-snap type frame, and I'll tell you what I think of that. I might stitch for a little while we talk, if you think you'd like that. I want to thank everyone for answering questions and polls and leaving comments and likes. It helps the channel so much. The more engagement I have, the better it is. So if you could please do any or all of the above, like it, comment, answer the question, do the polls. I've been leaving a little pinned comment at the top of the comments with a question for you to answer, so you could answer that. There are lots of ways to engage and move my video up in the queue, so to speak, so that YouTube will push it out to more people. That doesn't cost you a dime to do. So that's all I'm going to say on it. Thank you in advance for doing it. I appreciate it greatly. I appreciate all of you watching. So let's get this started. Let's see what I've done since I came back from vacation. How did you like the vacation video? Did you make it all the way through? I know it was an hour long, but yeah, I wanted to share some of the reasons why I put up with all the crap that goes on at that place. I could tell you all about it, but why? Just know that it was not great. I am 99.9% sure I will not be going back next year. If I do, it will be because I have a camper that I am parking out front. So we'll just leave it at that. So let's get started with stitching, so that those of you who don't care about anything else, and that's fine. I don't care if you don't like anything else. That's fine. You're here for stitching. So let's get to it. My first, and I gotta get this up. Uh-oh. That was my phone. Oh. Sorry, I just heard about a frame that had been back ordered, so I will have to respond to that. But I was looking for the pattern picture of the first one that I'm going to show you, which is my new bird, which is not a peacock. So you don't ever have to really listen to that unless I just want to throw in a peacock, just because, which I might, you never know. But it is a new bird. I can't remember the name of the new bird. Vintage Bird and Nest Bouquet. So it doesn't really have a I'm just going to call it Pretty Bird. So there's the picture. And as I said, I am doing the nest area first. So this area right in here with the eggs. Sorry about the glare. I am sitting in front of my window. So I'm doing the area around the eggs because I think that's probably the most boring area of the whole thing. And I think the colors will become more exciting and more intense the further along we go. So I decided to start with the nest and work my way out, which I am doing. I am making great progress. I'm probably working on this particular piece 3 to 4 days a week, assuming that I have time to stitch those nights. I got the pneumonia shot the other day, and it kicked me right to the curb. And so there were a couple nights, the last 4 nights, that I didn't stitch because I just didn't feel good. I gotta orient myself. Okay. This is how I'm coming along. Look at all those eggs. Look at them. I think I probably have a couple more right over here, maybe 1 or 2. But that's most of the eggs, and you can see the bottom of the nest forming here. Now I am working this on 40 count chestnut from Hand Dyed by Stephanie. And it's a dark brown, but definitely in some lights it looks green. So I'm not sure what color it will end up looking when I get all the other colors on it, but right now I just see brown. A little bit of green over here. But this one's been fun, even though the colors are not exactly exciting. I have enjoyed stitching on it, so I look forward to when I can stitch on it again. The next one I have is Southland, which I will put, well, let me see if I can do it without, last time I tried it, I ended up, the screen switched and I ended up showing part of the pattern. So let me try this. No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, it's gonna make me do that. Okay, let me scroll up real fast. It's only like 400 million pages. There we go. And as long as I don't mess up. So that is Southland. It's 4 colors. I changed two of them. I changed the blues from 930 and 932 to, I don't know, still in the 9s, but more the greener color, 928 and 927, I think. So that is my progress. Just a little more blue done over here and a little more blue down here. Finished that and brought it down. And that's what I've gotten done on that one. It's a beautiful piece and it's fun to work on. So I do, however, almost wish that I had changed the blue to black and gray, just because blue's not my jam. But I do love the picture, so I'm gonna do it, and maybe when I die someone will want it. Not one of my kids, they don't want any of it, but someone hopefully will want it. The next one I worked on is Animal Crackers Abigail by Stacy Nash. Oh, let's back up a little bit. I am working Southland on 40 count cream linen from Zweigart. All right, there's Abigail. I am not doing the drum. I'm just going to do Abigail. And I am doing her on 40 count bow truckle from Tabby Cat. Look, I could remember the name today. I don't know what it was when Kate was trying to show hers, and I could not remember for the life of me. Also, the floss tube where I saw Southland, mischievous stitches. I knew that. I don't know where my brain is, but yeah. So sometimes you just can't come up with the words. But here's where we are with Abigail. Not a lot of progress. I just brought more of her apron down. So I don't think it'll be her I choose to work on tonight or today. But maybe. You never know. Next up, one stitch at a time from La Di Da. In case you're wondering what that says, it says beautiful things come together one stitch at a time. I am working this one on 25 count Vintage Country Mocha Lugana, and I'm doing it over one because I wanted it small. So there is, I just did a little over here. This one has been mostly ignored. I'm going to be honest, mostly ignored is what it is. Just a little bit of progress is progress. We have always said that. Progress is progress. Next up is Garden Fair, which I sold my last copy of Garden Fair last week or the week before. And I went to reorder it, and it's no longer on either of my distributors. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to restock this one or not, which is very sad because the piece is beautiful, and I don't think enough people really appreciated its beauty. I appreciate its beauty, but I don't know that everyone else did. Anyway, I am working on this band right here, right there. So let me hold it up so you can see what I have done. I believe I am doing this one on the called for, which I don't remember what it is now. Yeah, Vintage Lentil from Lakeside. But that's how far I've gotten. I just did brought a little bit of that over. So I'm thinking this is what I will work on. Maybe if I sit and stitch with you guys for a while, I will work on this one during the day, and maybe I'll work on the La Di Da one tonight during my Zoom call. I don't know. But this is such a pretty one. Again, red and black. I am drawn to red and black. My powder room right around the corner there is red and black. Dan and I, well, mostly Dan. My idea, he made it happen. I bought some red toile fabric, and we upholstered the ceiling in that little bathroom with the fabric, and then put up some white little crown molding. The walls are painted red, and I have black and white transferware plates hanging on the wall in there, and then there's like I have white beadboard that goes up, 3 feet or so, maybe a little more. So it's red and black and white. The mirror is framed in black, so, and the faucet's black. So yeah, that is, I like red and black. Always have, always will. All right, Last one I have to show you is La Di Da. Did I tell you what happened to this pattern? I've never had it happen before, but it stuck to my vinyl front project bag and tore when I pulled it out. I don't know. I've not ever had that happen before. So note to self, don't put the paper against the vinyl. Put the project. Anyway, this is the one I am going to probably work on tonight because it's not terribly difficult. I'm to the tree. So I've brought since the last time you saw it, I brought the trunk up, and I've done a branch, a couple of branches, and a couple of leaves. So I think I will work on this one tonight during my Zoom call and make some more progress on it. So the only other thing I have that's maybe stitching related to show you is the Nerge hoop. My friend Donna told me that Nerge had, not hoop, Q-snap, snap. I think they're just calling it a snap. The Nerge snap frame. Told me that Nerge had come out with one, and so I hopped on Amazon and I ordered one. It came in, and I have been using it. I'm not going to get too terribly technical. I'm just going to say I like it. I think it's easier. They have it in colors, so if you like, colors, that's a plus as opposed to the Q-snaps. I do think that the clamps come off a little bit easier than the Q-snap clamps. And I know that's a concern for some, is that they can't get the clamps off. These come off easier. Price point is a little bit high because I'm sure because of tariffs. The Nerge comes from Turkey, and I was looking at one of the distributors that does sell Nerge, but they put it right on there that there's a significant tariff that needs to be paid on them. So it would make them too spendy for me to carry, I think. So if you want one, go to Amazon or to a bigger shop that can afford to pay that. But because I think it was 22 or 24 on Amazon. So as opposed to a Q-snap, which also went up, but not that much. So I would recommend, if you're looking for something that's maybe a little easier to get off, the clamps off, I would recommend that. Otherwise, I would stick with the Q-snap. So that is my review, such as it is. Now, what did I say I wanted to work on right now? Courtney Garden Fair? I really am sad that no one else, and I don't even know if I could contact Courtney Collection and get charts directly from them. I'll have to investigate that. If any of you know if she's still in business, let me know. Let me know. Okay, so for those of you who use a Q-snap, are you an in the ditch Q-snapper, or are you an on the top Q-snap stitcher? I stitch in the ditch for a couple of different reasons. Number one reason, see these go on just really nice and easy. They do seem to keep the fabric taut, which is good because I like my fabric nice and tight. But they come off, they pop off real easy. So, what was I going to ask you? For those of you who use a Q-snap type frame, do you stitch on the top side, so this way, where it's completely flat, or do you stitch in the ditch where it's sunk in? I stitch in the ditch so that when I'm holding, because I don't use a, what's the word I'm looking for? A Q-snap cover. I don't use those. I do use magnet things to hold up the, the extra fabric. But I don't use I'm going to call it a diaper because that's what I've always called them. When I'm holding it, then my hand is on the back side of the fabric and not the front side of the fabric. So any oils and dirt, cookie crumb, you should always wash your hands before you pick up your stitching, which I did before I started filming. But my hands then are on the back side just in case. And the other reason is it's way easier to finish off if it's flat, to run and you're kind of up close to the edge, to run it under if it's flat than if you're down here and you're close to the edge and need to finish off your thread. So I'm just curious. Are you a top stitcher or an in the ditch stitcher? Let me know. Let me know. What else do I want to talk to you about? Not much going on shop-wise. I've got some frames coming in. I am going to have to do something different with framing. And I haven't decided for sure yet what that will be. It's going to be one of two things. Either have to retire from framing completely, or teach the people who are interested how to do their own stretching. I am not going to be able to continue to stretch. I had an MRI done of my entire spine last week, and the problems that I have been having with stretching are coming from the neck. I had a fusion some years ago. I now have bulging disc above that fusion that is hitting my spinal cord. It's hitting the cord, which is causing the pain and the numbness and the tingling. So I am not going to be able to continue doing that. I'm going to finish the ones that I have finished, or that are already, like, I've stretched them initially and they're waiting for frames. So I will do the tweaking of the stretching when the frames get in, and I will finish those up. And then I'm trying to decide which way I want to go. I know some people would be interested in stretching their own or learning how to do it, and then bringing it to me for to finish up, to get their frame, or to have me finish their framing for them, because I have all the tools and equipment. But I don't know if enough people will want to do that it would make financial sense to keep those accounts open and to do that. So I've got some thinking to do on how I want to do that. And I probably what's going to happen is I'm going to try that. I'm going to try offering a class. Here's how you stretch, or here's how I stretch, because everyone does it a little bit differently. Here's how I stretch. This is how I do it. Teach you how to do it like I do it, and then They take their foam core, they stretch their piece, they bring it back to me, I order the frame, and I can put it together. That doesn't bother my neck. But they would have to be, like, I'm not touching the stretching. So I do not want neck surgery again. That was not a good surgery to have when you can't take painkillers. So I have no wish to spend another 6 months laying on the sofa while they figure out whether they want to do surgery or not. So yeah, that's where we're at. So you can stay tuned for further information on that. What else do I need to tell you shop-wise? They're stitching this coming Saturday, which is the last Saturday of July. Summer goes by so fast after you get to July. It just does. I don't understand why, but it does. It's like 1 minute it's there and the next it's not. And while I am looking, how do I want to put this? I am not looking forward to the end of summer and to cold weather. I am looking forward to getting rid of bugs. The mosquitoes have been terrible this year, and they love me. They absolutely adore me. I must have like sugar running through my veins because the dang things, I go outside for all of 30 seconds to let the dogs out, and I come in and I've been bit. And those, I do not react well. I get bit and then I itch for days. I get welts. This whole side of my face was swollen last week, the week before, from one. It just, so that you have the option of I can have warm weather or I can have no mosquitoes. And gosh, this year no mosquitoes is winning out. It's been bad. What else can I tell you? So I briefly mentioned we looked at several properties while we were on vacation. I didn't go to the first one, as I said in my previous video. I stayed with the dogs because I had seen the pictures and I was not impressed. That's all I'm going to say about that. I was not impressed by the pictures, and usually pictures look better than the real thing. And that was true. Melanie came back and said there was feces smeared all over the walls and junk piled high everywhere. And yes, I realize we have a very small, minuscule, have to switch glasses budget, but you could clean your own feces off the wall if you're trying to sell the place. The story is that it was an elderly person. I don't know, maybe they had dementia or something, and it was just splattered everywhere. So, and then she said that the smell was terrible. So that was a big nope. Then we looked at another one outside of Burwell, and the land was good. It was out in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of what we want. But the lady that lived there had been a hoarder. She'd lived there for 17 years, and nothing had been done with the house in that 17 years. She did have her brother, this was a for sale by owner one, and he did clean out the house for the most part, but he did not do any repairs to it or anything. It didn't have heat in the upstairs, and the foundation had some issues, and most of that, the 10 acres of land, were not really usable. And he was asking a very high price for the whole thing, so we said no to that one. And then we looked at another one, but it was, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this one today. I'll give my eyes some time to adjust, but I don't have the best lighting right here. And I don't know if I can see well enough so that I don't make a mistake. Oh, it was in a, it was like a log type cabin. And Dan and I really liked it, but it happened to be not far off the highway. And if you have dogs, you worry about we'd have to fence the area, and you still worry about them getting out and running onto the highway, and they're going 65, 70 miles an hour. So had it been in a different location, I probably would have purchased it, but it wasn't. And then we looked at just a piece of property, and there was nothing remarkable about the property. It was 5 acres. It did have a well on it. Electrical was at the road, so we'd have to pay to bring the electrical in. It needed a septic system, but they wanted, again, by the time you bought the land and then had to pay for the other stuff, there was no house or anything on it. So it was going to be too out of our price range. And then we looked at a house in town. Dan and I, and Kate and Ben did. Melanie and Chris were like, no, we don't want to be in town. And I said, well, I just want to look at my options, And the house had a lot of charm. It had not been updated probably since the 70s. It had a lot of charm. There was some glorious red, white, and blue shag carpet in the one bedroom. Very on point with, it being the 250th birthday of America, but not really my style. They had painted the big, it had big wide oak molding, but in the one bedroom they painted it all pink. I don't know why you would do that, but they did. So, and that had a funky color of shag carpet in it too. So while it had some charm, the house next door to it did not have charm. It had peeling paint and overgrown weeds and dogs chained up in the front yard. So and the house next door to it was even worse. So it was apparently not in the good part of town. So again, that was a no. And then we looked at one final property on our way home on Monday. And that property was beautiful. The land was beautiful. The outbuildings were beautiful. And then you got to the house. And these people had lived there for 35 years. It had old water damage on the upstairs floor, like the ceiling. I mean, they'd lived with it that way for a very long time. The carpet was threadbare, like literally you could see how carpet has that rough jute type stuff on the backing of it. It was down to the jute. So there had been obviously no upkeep, no taking care of the property at all on the house. It also had foundation issues. they had started doing some renovation and quit and bought a house in another town. So I'm going to guess they found out how much it was going to cost to fix the foundation and decided to see if they could pass that on to someone else. But for what they were asking, it's been on the market for a long time. So I think everyone else is on to them too. Their disclosure statement, every box was marked, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. You can't live in a place for 35 years and not know. So that the kitchen, like the floor came up and then it went back down. There was a beam running right underneath the floor across the kitchen. And then the rest of the floor went downhill. So obviously a pretty serious issue that would need to be addressed. Now, if one had the money, one could just buy the property and knock the house down and not worry about it. But it was at the upper part of our range anyway, so knocking down the house isn't an option. So that was our property adventures. I don't know that it's ever going to happen. And let's see, as I mentioned, the bats were still in residence. Melanie and Chris brought 2 very expensive, what do you call it? You know, that emits the high-pitched thing that bats are supposed to be able to hear. They bought 2 very expensive ones that were 99% guaranteed to work. But then the caveat was within 10 days. Well, we were only there for 10 days, so we don't know. It did not work during that 10 days, I can tell you that. We hoped it would. We took some, that expandable foam stuff to try and fill in some of the holes. But no, none of it seemed to work. We had fresh guano in there. And then Ben decided, because we thought we had taken care of it. So Ben decided to sleep out in the main area the last night we were there, but it didn't last long because the bat came flying out. So, and when she came to the owner came to the door, we got there on Friday night. She came Saturday morning. I was the only one there. And, she wanted to see if we had water because apparently on Thursday there was no water. So she was just making sure that the water was still working, which it was. And I told her it was. And I also told her, well, you probably would have heard from us if we'd gotten here and there was no water. But we also still have bats because I had let them know a year ago that there were bats. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that let them know they had bats. And she just kind of, after I said we have bats inside, she just said, yeah, I just don't know what we're going to do about those. Seriously? Seriously. You pick up the phone, you call the person that remediates bats, and you have them come in and do it. And yes, you're going to have to pay some money for it, but you have them do it. And money's not an object for these people. So I don't know why they don't take care of it or why they don't take care of the lodge, but they don't. So even Dan and Kate, she's like, I just don't know if I can go back next year. I'm like, yeah, I'm right there with you. I came home and did laundry for 2 days because everything smelled of mold and mildew. But the fishing was great. Dan had a great time fishing. And the dogs enjoy being up there. It's just not... What did I do? I did a bad thing. I have an extra stitch. Do I have an extra stitch? No. Nope, I didn't. What was I saying? I don't remember now. Anyway, it's if we go, it'll be because we both rented campers and are staying in the camper and not in the actual. We'll go in and use the bathrooms, but that's going to be, sleeping is going to be in a camper that has air conditioning and doesn't smell like mold. So that was our vacation. I'd already told you how it started, so I don't need to tell you about that again. Gertie suffered no ill effects from her overdose, which was good. Lola had her teeth cleaned this week. She smells so much better. She also had 6 teeth removed, mostly little ones, but she did have one big molar removed. I asked him, I said, do I need to switch her to soft food? And he said no, he didn't think she'd probably been using that tooth to eat with anyway because it was that bad. She just had them cleaned like a couple years ago. But apparently Yorkies are notorious for having bad teeth. So, but she smells much better now, which is good. Remy gets hers done next month. And that's my dog update. Dan update, he's still working. Hasn't decided when he'll retire yet, but I feel like it's coming. He has not picked up his stitching since we've been home. That was I don't know, I guess it was a fluke. He hasn't done anything else. It's not like he's working on any projects right now. He's supposed to be doing the fence, but it's too, got awful hot out there for him to be out there. So he can't continue on the fence. And we're not doing anything in the house since he didn't get his summer job. We're not doing anything else in the house this summer. So I don't know why he hasn't, but he did go out to Abby's on Friday. Abby is doing a project. She bought a big hutch, similar to my big hutch that used to sit behind me. She bought a big hutch, used, and wanted it painted. And it's not something that her husband does. He's a farmer. He's not a handyman. So Dan went out there to babysit because it was their county fair this past week, and they wanted to go to the concert Friday night. But he went out early and helped her sand it and prime it and get it ready. She's going to have someone come and spray it. But she's painting it the same color green as my walls. And then she's you have the top, and then there's the top of the bottom, the flat top of the bottom. She wanted that stained, so Dan did the staining on that for her and put one coat of finish on, and then she had to put the other coat of finish I think today. And then she was having them come and spray it. So he got that done for her and had a good time playing with the kids. Griffin is doing well. He had his 9-month checkup and he's doing good. He's crawling. He really wants to walk, which I'm sure will come soon. He's been sick, Emily's been sick, and then yesterday Alex got sick, so I gotta call her and see how she's feeling today. And Adam is doing a lot of traveling. Lots and lots of traveling for work. So we don't see much of him or the girls. They are switching schools. They've been going to Catholic school. So they are switching schools this fall to public school. And I'm hoping it goes smoothly. I think Adeline will be fine because she's a very friendly, outgoing little kid. But Emma is a little more introverted and quiet and shy, a lot like her dad. I don't know that Adam's shy. He just doesn't talk. Never did. He's always been a very sober, quiet person. He didn't, I don't think he cracked a smile until he was a year old. And then even then you had to stand on your head and make funny faces and wiggle your ears. So Emma is not that bad. She'll smile, but she just doesn't talk. Even if you ask her questions, you usually get an I don't know, or yes or no. So I'm a little concerned. I'm praying hard that, it'll be fine. But I am concerned that she might have a harder transition than what Adeline will have. And let's see. Reese is in a rural school where the class sizes aren't very big. So you have this same teacher. She'll be in first grade. She'll have the same teacher for first and second grade. And apparently this teacher is either like her or you don't. There's no indifference. And Abby's a little concerned that Reese might have a hard time with the teacher. I think she'll be fine. I think she'll figure out pretty quickly what this teacher expects out of her, and I think she'll be fine. But Abby's concerned about it. Hayden will be in his second year of preschool, and he's doing fine. So that's family update. Have you started something new, like this summer? You know how I started my bird on the, over vacation. Have you started a new project? Are you finishing up old projects like I am? Or what are you working on? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, while I'm saying comments, please like the video or leave a comment, answer the questions that I ask, or answer the poll if I put up a poll in the community posts. All of the above, any engagement for a YouTube channel helps push you up in the algorithm. And if you're not high up in the algorithm, no one ever sees your video. So if I'm going to spend the time to make the videos, I would like people to see them. I realize they're not the most exciting videos in the world, but some people are interested, and I would like those people to be able to see them. So I would appreciate that if you could do that for me. It would greatly help. What else do I know? I've asked you what you're stitching on, and I expect an answer from all 5 of you. And I don't know what else there is. This is getting to be almost an hour long, so it's probably about time for me to shut it down. Oh, I ordered a bunch of fabric from Seraphim last week. I'm not sure how long it's taking for fabric to get in, but I did order a bunch of 36 count because my 36 count's getting kind of low. So, well, low for me. I did have a gentleman from the Netherlands in the shop this past Saturday, and he was very impressed by the amount of fabric I had. So maybe it's just low to me and not to everyone else, but to me it's getting low. So I did place an order, but I don't know how long fabric is taking. You hear rumors that, it's hard to get the base fabric, which I can understand. There's 400 million dyers out there anymore, which is nice to have a variety, but those 400 million dyers are all fighting for the same amount of base fabric, so it gets a little dicey, I think, for the dyers anyway. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll come quickly. Do I know anything else? Connie won't be coming for a while. She's going to be she's doing a lot of house sitting right now. She house and pet sits. So she's doing a lot of that right now because everyone's going on vacation. And then when she gets done with that, she's going to... So some friends and I go on what we call our girls' retreat, usually in September after the state fair is over. Ooh, state fair, remember, coming up. So get your things ready. Enter your state fair. Keep cross stitch in front of the public eye. That's my public service announcement for today. So usually after the state fair, we go on a 4-day girls' retreat. I am not going this year because I don't have the money. So I have FOMO. I'm not happy about it. So she's going from that to girls' weekend, and then she's going to Texas for a couple of weeks, and then when she comes back, it's like the day before retreat, October retreat. So she's going to be out of her own house for quite some time. I think she said in July she was only home for 5 days, and I think August is now looking that way. And then her September is going to be that way. I'm hoping to get her to stay on the backside of retreat. I'm hoping to get her to stay for an extra day or two, so because hopefully Dan will get a fall class, and I might be able to go antiquing again, but I don't know for sure if that will happen. But I'd like her to stay for a couple of days if I have money and can go, but I'll also have to see. My car needs new tires desperately, so I probably have to use money for that. We need to finish the fence. Our drinking water system died, so we've been buying bottled water, and I hate doing that. I don't know. We'll see. I just need to step outside in my backyard and grab money off the money tree, right? Because that happens. Not. Well, I got the little doohickey. I got this little swirl right here done while we were been chatting. So that's something. It's not much, but it's something. So, but I am going to let you go because this is now 57 minutes long. By the time you add the beginning and the ending, it'll be an hour. Sorry. For those of you who have made it to the end, thank you. I appreciate it. And you guys take care until the next time. Don't forget to answer my question about stitching in the ditch or on the back. And whether you started anything new recently. So I will see you in the next one. You take care until then. Bye.